I'm not famous. I'm infamous. That probably helps. That probably helps.
But you like it. I mean, it's a feature of your politics that you like getting out here and actually
it's a feature of my
meeting
politics.
people.
I actually like real people. You know? And we've been doing this. This is now the 7th week on the road. And sure, we get some abuse. Sure, we get some people shout things at us. Fine, I don't care. What I'm really interested to meet are those who haven't quite made their minds up yet, who are curious about me, about us, about what we're doing. I engage in those conversations, and I'm unafraid to walk down the street and wander into shops and meet Joe Public and generally, if I can, have a bit of a laugh with them and have a bit of fun. I thoroughly enjoy doing it, and it's real grassroots politics. And you know something? It works. And why it has been going well. It's a 4-letter word. Not going to shock anybody. It's a 4-letter word, and it's hope. They see hope. They come up to me and grab my hands and say, save us. Help us turn this country around. And they see me as somebody unafraid to stand up and say what I believe to be right, regardless of abuse that I might get on X or whatever it may be. And it's hope they're looking for. They're looking for something different. They're looking for a bit of courage. That's what they want. And really 3 big points I'm going to make tonight. Number 1 is in the old Labour heartlands, and I'm talking places they've run since the First World War. You're about to see, I don't want to sound overconfident, but I genuinely believe something fundamental, a shapeshift, is going on. Secondly, the Conservatives will have their areas of strength on the day, on the 7th of May, but I think you'll find in the Red Wall, they've just disappeared. In Wales, they've become irrelevant. And that, frankly, third point, coming through the middle of this, the only now true national party that is competing everywhere, in Scotland, in Wales, in England, London, trying its hardest, is Reform. The commonest thing that people say to me on the streets is, please save us. A feeling that the whole thing is desperate, that we're in rapid downward spiral, very rapid downward spiral, particularly on law and order. Flash mobs looting stores. I mean, extraordinary things that are going on that we'd never have dreamt of, frankly, even a decade ago. So it's partly disenchantment with the two, but also they think we're offering a message of hope. And I think to have based everything in this party around family, community, country, I always say these are the things we care about. I think Starmer is the epitome. He's the epitome of the North London professional class who've not just overtaken the Labour Party, but actually run the Tories in many cases now for year after year after year. He's a deeply unpopular Prime Minister. And the argument is, only by voting Reform can we get rid of a Prime Minister who clearly has no intention of going whatsoever. So it's really us pitching ourselves. We are the main opposition. So we're saying get Starmer out in Suffolk, just as we're saying get Starmer out in Barnsley. I think we're going way further in the Red Wall than Boris Johnson ever did in 2019. I think this is much deeper. I think it's much broader. I think it's much more fundamental. 2014, UKIP wins the European elections. And in places like Yorkshire, storms it. North East, storms it. And then the Brexit vote comes, and Westminster doesn't know what to think, doesn't know what to do. And how do people feel 10 years on? Disappointed. Very, very disappointed with the lack of delivery. The last little village we went to, HGV driver in there saying, well, but this is what I voted for. Why haven't they done it? Why haven't they done it? So there is deep disappointment that the realistic expectations of Brexit were not delivered by a Conservative government and now being reversed by a Labour government. And I mean, the very thought of youth mobility scheme. Well, hang on. Spain have just amnestied 500,000 illegals. So they'll be able to come. The regulations we'll have to sign up to will deeply upset 5.7 million people running small businesses, acting as sole traders. So the Brexit issue has not gone away. In the minds of most folk, it's done. It's over. It's not been done properly. But Starmer is now completely breaking his manifesto promises and linking us to a group of economies who in some cases are doing even worse than we are. So the whole thing is madness. And we'll fight, we won't call it Brexit, but we'll fight for the principles of making our own laws in our own country, including the ability to deport people. Because the completely unfinished bit of Brexit was they never even contemplated the European Convention on Human Rights, which of course Blair wrote into law. And don't underestimate this. ECHR is the new Brexit debate. ECHR, and it sounds all very technical. Promise you, knock on doors in Barnsley, they know what ECHR is. They really do.
Someone who you might be kindred spirits with, or at least fishing in the same pool, is Zach Polanski, because he is targeting lots of white working class voters who are just fed up with their current lot. They've been ignored for many years. Do you see the two of you as competing with the same type of voters?
I don't see the Green vote as being working people. I see the Green vote as being ethnic minorities, many who don't speak English, many who have foreign passports, but are still allowed to vote for reasons that are totally beyond me. You know, the Boris wave. If you apply to a local council, you can vote. I find that extraordinary. No.
That speech that Hannah Spencer gave after winning the Gordon and Denton by-election.
The most bizarre thing I've ever seen. You know, how Hannah Spencer could get up and talk about working people. I mean, believe you me, you know, we canvassed very, very hard. And in the Denton part, which is about 40% of the population of that constituency, you know, we polled between 45 and 50%. But I remember very few of our voters were home before 5 o'clock. So I found it the most bizarre speech, totally at odds. The Labour Party itself is now a party of welfare, not work, and the Greens are competing in a similar pond. All we're promising is for the United Kingdom to become a normal country all over the world, about 190 countries. If you enter illegally, you turn up tomorrow illegally, all right? Do you know what will happen? You'll be detained, put in prison, and deported. That is how it ought to work. So we're arguing for a return to normality. Are we going to face challenges in delivering? Yeah, sure. You know, maybe the House of Lords will be a problem. Maybe the Home Office, bureaucrats will be a problem. Maybe the courts will be a problem. And that's why removing the fundamental obstacles to this is the first thing that a reform government has to do. Is it a big ask? Yes. But is it absolutely fundamental to what we are and who we are? And by the way, you know, it is immigration, both legal and illegal, but actually it's as much about population explosion. You know, the impact of the population explosion on people's lives, quality of life, has been incredibly detrimental, and it's made us poorer. So yeah, you know, we are saying that this is what we're going to do, and we mean it, and we're determined. I've got people like Suella Braverman, you know, who've held high offices of state. I've got people like Danny Kruger, who, whilst not in a ministerial position, has worked in Number 10. You know, understands a lot more about how it works than I certainly do at this moment in time. You know, the other thing is, I mean, both Robert Jenrick and Suella Braverman, you know, they resigned from government or were sacked from government for fighting against the government on its open door Boris wave policy. So, you know, it's not as if we're being tainted by Conservatives. We've taken a handful of people. They have brought considerable experience, added talent, and the door shuts very, very soon, and that's your lot, guys.
So who are the failed Tories trying to infiltrate reform, which Zia Youssef's been talking about?
Oh, I don't know. There's all sorts of people who've tried to join, and we've just... I mean, he's right, actually. There are quite a lot of former MPs who've tried to join us recently.
Who? Name names.
I'm not a rude person like that. But there are quite a lot that try to join that we just thought, no. They're only doing this because they think they can save their political skins, as opposed to really believing in what we believe in. And they haven't had the track records of speaking out on these issues. I'm not promising to wave a magic wand. I didn't last year either. I've never overpromised for fear of under-delivering. It goes back to your point earlier about what we do in government if we won the next election. But what I can promise people is we will cut excessive expenditure. We will do so responsibly and sensibly, reprioritise local government, and we'll deliver you lower council taxes than the other parties will. And I can stand there and say, on the basis of the 10 authorities that we run, we have delivered lower council tax rises. Now, I'm hoping with those councils, over the course of the next few years, to deliver a lot more. But I think we're off to a good solid start, and we prove we can run local authorities.